Sunrise in focus now, and the approach of Christmas. For some people, it's a time they dread. They feel pressure to spend money and pressure to get on with relatives.
So how do you get over those feelings and get into the real spirit of Christmas? We're joined in the studio by our old mate, the Reverend Bill Cruz, and relationships expert Des Corroy. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Bill, it is a shame, isn't it, that a lot of tension can build up around Christmas. And it comes from all areas,
Yeah, I
doesn't
had a phone call from a lady the other day and she said she and her sister just don't get on. But they have to get together on Christmas Day because all the children need to know who their cousins are. And she's just dreading it. And there must be lots of families like that. I think all the murders go up on Christmas Day too, because all these people get back together.
And it's also the end of a long year too, isn't it? People are a bit jaded, they've had lots of Christmas parties.
And they're a bit jumpy too, because of all the things that have been going on around the world. So it's all quite a tense time.
Des, is that the case that, you know, a lot of families, parts of them don't get on and they do get together and there'd be that stress level for the whole day when is what you want to avoid?
I agree. I think the biggest problem for disappointment with people at Christmas is high expectations. For 2 months before, we're bombarded with images of ideal family, and it is a time of wonderful love. But if we can just go into Christmas with a little bit lower expectations, then if we do have a wonderful experience in a day, it's a surprise. But often we go with that very high level of expectations, and quite often we're disappointed.
Yeah, Bill, is there truth in that? Because all the marketing and promotion is that you should be happy. If you're not happy, you're almost dysfunctional.
That's right. There's the dream, the Christmas dream of, because Christmas in a sense in its whole thing is about hope and new life and all of that. And so somehow we catch up with that. And then we're forced to look at the reality of our own lives. So that the worst day for people who are like on the out is Christmas Day itself, because that's the ultimate, when everything's supposed to come right and the star's supposed to shine and all of those sorts of things. And here I am sitting alone in my room with no one or with memories of the past or whatever. And I feel miserable.
What did you say to that lady who rang you up, who was dreading sort of spending Christmas with her sister? What advice do you give someone?
Well, there was a lovely song written by Lyle Lovett when he was having all those troubles with Julia Roberts and her family. And he wrote this song which goes, I don't like you, you don't like me, but we do our best to get along. And I thought, if you go to Christmas Day with that attitude, you'll probably get through.
And I mean, the average family isn't perfect, is it? They aren't like the, you know, but there are people who just don't like each other, although they're relatives.
We all want to pretend we're all right. But in all of us, isn't it? In all of us, there's this function of dysfunctionality that we want to try and avoid. And pretend isn't there. And so we spend this time building all these barriers and then see them all come crumbling down around the Christmas table.
It sort of perpetuates itself. Des, give us some tips. How can we start preparing ourselves now for Christmas and to make sure it all goes smoothly with relationships?
Well, the first thing I mentioned before was lower the expectation level. That's the most important thing. You know, we're not a television family. We're actually, you know, a real family. So if you do that, you got a good start on it. Buy presents early. By buying presents early, focus more on the heart of the issue, not just the money.
You know, that's a point, because Mel did hers early this year because she's having a baby. And I took a leaf out of her book and I bought a lot of mine in October, and all my friends are sort of, you know, laughing at me thinking, you know, that's a bit strange. But there's no pressure, there's no crowds, things are on sale. It's a much more relaxing way to do it, isn't it?
Natalie, it gives you a chance to really look at that person and say, what can I buy for them that'll surprise them? A little extra effort, so that's important.
You had share with someone less fortunate with yourself, which Bill will talk about that, what you can do in a minute, but that's important, Des.
It takes you out of yourself if you share, if you go to, you know, a retirement village, or as, you know, Dr. Cruz will talk about in a second. It's important to take yourself out of the picture, your emotions. Another thing that we do too, if you're recently divorced or if you're recently, you know, widowed, for instance, it can be very difficult at Christmas, especially the first Christmas after. So it's important to accept your feelings and know that you will have intense feelings and talk to someone about that. Because pain shared is halved. Now, if you can't talk to someone, call someone at Lifeline, or there are organizations that are just there for that.
And also
purpose.
be kind to someone, which I think is good too, sort of spread that Christmas spirit. Bill, you do that every Christmas, don't you?
We find at our, because we'll have 3,000 people on Christmas Day, and we'll have people crying in one corner because their relationships are broken up, and there'll be a man here who's not with his kids and a woman there who's not with her family and all of those sorts of things. And what we do is we give them someone to look after.
Right.
And that kind of tends to help through that situation.
Gives them some meaning.
Give
in
them,
their
give the day the meaning,
Yeah.
you know, and rather than have the family that was, we have the bigger family of people who are struggling just to survive anyway.
All supporting each other. Guys, thank you for that. Appreciate your time this morning. Some terrific
than
tips. Bill, we'll catch up again before
Yes,
Christmas
please.
with some of the projects that you're doing, which are just fabulous ways that we can help other people. And Des, a pleasure as always.
Thank you, David.
Okay.
Thank you.
My pleasure.